Have you ever stopped to think about how an idea really takes off? You know, how it goes from being this little personal project, maybe something you're just messing around with, to a global force that reaches 1 billion people? We're going to get into that because the answer is probably not what you're expecting.
So when you see a number that big, what happens? For most of us, our brains just shut down. We get totally paralyzed thinking we need some massive, perfect, grand plan to make that leap. But what if I told you the real path, from your little sandbox to global impact, actually starts with thinking way smaller? And there it is. That's the big secret we're unpacking today. It's not about staring at the mountaintop. It's about building a better path. We're going to see how focusing on a simple, repeatable, daily system is the actual key to unlocking that kind of insane growth.
I know, it sounds completely backward, right? To go bigger, you have to think smaller. But just think about it for a second. If you try to build a global company on day one before you have a single user, you'll just spin your wheels forever. The real magic happens when you master a small, repeatable process first.
Okay, check this out. This slide really breaks down the 2 different ways of thinking. On one side, you've got the goal mindset. It's all about some future outcome. It asks, what do I want? And it runs on motivation, which, as we all know, comes and goes. Now look at the other side, the system mindset. It's about the process you're doing right now. It asks a much more powerful question. Who am I becoming? It doesn't need motivation because it builds identity. One creates pressure, the other creates momentum. So let's really dig into the foundation here. If you want any kind of lasting growth for yourself or for an idea you're trying to spread, you have to make this shift. You have to stop chasing destinations and start focusing on building the road that's going to get you there.
This right here, this is the whole idea in one sentence. I'd seriously consider writing this down. Your goals are just wishes, they're just dreams. But your systems, that's your reality. That's what you default to when you're tired, when you're uninspired, when life gets in the way.
So, if systems are the path, what's the engine driving you forward? It's your identity. And I love this definition because it shows that identity isn't something you find, it's something you build. Every time you take a small action, you're literally casting a vote for the type of person you want to be. So how does this actually work mechanically? Well, a good system just makes the behavior you want almost inevitable. It makes the right choice the easy choice. And when you repeat those actions, they start to feel like truths about yourself. That's what builds identity. And once it's part of your identity, you don't need willpower anymore. It's just what you do. Your whole life is just built on what you've normalized. And that flips everything on its head. It's the action that creates the motivation, not the other way around. All right, that's the why, and it's inspiring stuff for sure. But theory without a plan is just, well, it's just theory. So let's get super practical. Let's talk about the how. Here's a simple 10-minute daily system designed to just break through that inertia and get you moving.
Here they are, the 5 steps. First, a mental cleanse to just clear out the noise. Then you find a momentum multiplier, a tiny win. Then you use a discomfort challenge to punch procrastination in the face. You follow the ship messy protocol to just get it out there. And you finish by identifying that one domino decision that's going to make the biggest difference. Let's look at a couple of these a little closer.
Everything starts right here, with just 2 minutes. See, the hardest part of any task is just starting. Your brain builds it up into this huge monster. So you trick it. You just grab a piece of paper and dump everything out of your head, every worry, every to-do item. It clears the static, and it proves to yourself that you can, in fact, take action. Oh, this one is a total game changer, especially if you procrastinate. The second you have an idea of something you should do, before your brain can talk you out of it, you just count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you physically move. You just go. It's not about doing it perfectly. It's about taking messy, imperfect action right now. You're literally rewiring your brain to push past that hesitation. Okay, for all the perfectionists listening, this one might hurt a little. Waiting for your project to be perfect is just procrastination in a fancy costume. We think we have to figure out everything out before we launch. But the truth is, you launch in order to figure things out. Real progress only happens when you get your idea into the real world and start getting feedback. And this chart just makes it so clear. If you launch when you're only 40% ready, yeah, you might do some damage. But look what happens if you wait until you're 90% ready. You're too late. The world has moved on. That sweet spot, right there at 70%, where it's good, but you're still a little embarrassed by it, that's your launch window. So let's bring it all home. How does a 10-minute personal routine connect back to that crazy idea of scaling to 1 billion people?
It's because the physics are the same. The exact same principles that create momentum for one person are what create momentum for an entire organization.
Just imagine a startup. The team that launches their app when it's 70% done gets immediate user feedback. That lets them iterate and improve way faster than the competitor who's still polishing their perfect version. They focus on small, daily wins that build momentum. And pretty soon, their identity becomes, "We are the team that ships." That is so much more powerful than a vague revenue goal. The personal system becomes the company culture, and that is how you scale.
So it doesn't matter if you're trying to build a new habit or build a global movement. It all boils down to this one last, powerful idea. The one thing that can change everything.
The domino. What is the one thing you can do today that will make everything else easier or maybe even unnecessary? That's your domino. This isn't about doing 100 things. It's about finding the one single action that once you push it over, starts a chain reaction that you couldn't even imagine.
And really, that's the bottom line. Stop waiting for the perfect strategy. Stop waiting for the grand plan to reveal itself. Progress is a pattern, not a feeling. Your impact, your business, your life, it is all built on the things you repeat. So let me ask you, what is your one domino? What is that one small, messy action you're going to take today?